Hello all, welcome back to my channel Food Prod Notes once again. I, Chef Reena Dongre, would be discussing flour pastries today. The learning objectives for today's class is to understand what is flour pastry and to know about the classification of flour pastries. We are also going to learn the non-laminated pastries in detail. What is a flour pastry? It is basically can be defined as a paste of flour, water and fat. It may or may not contain eggs in it. So how do we classify the flour pastries? It can be classified as laminated pastries and non-laminated pastries. For the non-laminated pastries, shortcrust pastry and choux pastry are the examples. Whereas for the laminated pastries, puff pastry, Danish pastry and filo pastry are the examples. Let's discuss non-laminated pastries first. In that, shortcrust pastry is the example. The ingredients which are essentially used for shortcrust pastry are flour, fat and liquid. This liquid can be in the form of milk or water or eggs. The methods which are used for making the shortcrust pastry are rubbing in or pinning. While the butter and flour can be mixed using either rubbing in method where the pieces of butter are rubbed into the flour to produce a coarse breadcrumb size particles. Cold water is then sprinkled over and the dough is lightly mixed to form shortcrust pastry. Or pinning in method where the butter is cut into small cubes and rolled with the flour until buttered flakes are produced. These flakes are collected in a bowl and sprinkled with cold water. Again, this paste is collected together to form a shortcrust paste. In either of the method, the dough is being made. It is then refrigerated for some time. This way, it would be easy to roll, and for that the paste is put in the plastic bag and flattened out with the tip of fingers before refrigerating. Once it's removed from the refrigerator, then it is rolled. Blind baking and docking are the two important steps which are followed for the shortcrust pastry. This shortcrust pastry thus made can be used for making tarts, pies and flans. Let's watch a video for that. The products which are made using the shortcrust pastry are tart, flan, barquettes, tartlets, quiche and cookies. Here one point to be noted is that shortcrust pastry can have the variation of savory and sweet. When the shortcrust pastry is savory, it is called as shortcrust pastry, whereas if you add sugar in that, it is called as sweet paste. Normally, the proportion used for shortcrust pastry for the flour and butter, it is 2:1. Okay. Whereas for the sweet paste, the proportion is normally 1:3. 1 is sugar, 2 is fat, and 3 would be refined flour. So these products can be made using either sweet paste or shortcrust paste depending upon the filling of the pastry. Next, we are going to discuss about choux pastry. The main ingredients used for choux pastry are flour, fat, water and eggs. All these 4 ingredients are essential while making the choux pastry. Instead of margarine, if butter is used as a fat, it certainly gives a better flavor to the choux pastry. In some of the recipes, even sugar is added to improve the flavor. It can be sweet or savory depending upon the recipe. Though sweet choux pastry is more preferred, savory is also available which can be used with savory stuffing in it. This is the only flour pastry which is cooked before baking. Rest all the flour pastries are baked afterwards. Products made are profiteroles, eclairs, croquembouche, souchard, swans, Paris Brest, etc. Let's watch the video for the same.
How to make choux pastry. You will need butter and water, flour, eggs, and cream. Bring the butter and the water to the boil. Add flour to create a roux. Mix with a wooden spoon until the flour takes up all of the liquids and you have a smooth dough. Let cool for 5 minutes on your bench. Place into a clean mixing bowl. Using a beater, mix the roux paste for 1 to 2 minutes. At this stage, blend in your eggs slowly. In multiple additions, clearing after each addition. Mixture should now be at pipable consistency. To check consistency of dough, place a small amount of dough between 2 fingers and pull apart. If dough holds a stiff peak, then it is of pipable consistency. The resultant paste should be smooth, shiny and lump-free. Piping stage. We then place our mixture into a piping bag. Pipe choux pastry directly onto a floured tray. For eclairs, piping out equal lengths 12 centimeters long. For cream puffs, 3 centimeter bulbs. Bake choux pastry 210 degrees for 20 minutes. Check cream puffs and eclairs for baked state. Dry shells should be achieved. The finished baked pastry should be dry and open in texture with golden brown colour. When tapping the base, a hollow sound should be heard. When cooled, split lengthways with a serrated knife. Pipe a spiral rope pattern of cream down the centre of each base of your eclair. Chocolate dip the top. Scrape off any excess and place directly onto the eclair. Let the chocolate set before selling eclair. Cream puffs can also be finished in this way or by filling the puff from the base and dipping in chocolate or caramelized sugar.
Some of the products are shown in the picture here: swan, croquembouche, eclairs, profiteroles, etc.